We're back.
We're on. Welcome to week 3, episode 3 of Is That Your Kid podcast with Todd Tondera and my delicious co-host, Jake Zerme.
Good to be here.
Good to be delicious today.
I guess that's my title.
Yeah? Feeling good this week?
Well, yeah, I had some good experiences this week.
This week? Uh-huh. Great. I just want to, about 5 to 10 seconds prior to we started recording, this is something that Jake, I don't know if we talked about it last week, but he implemented last week that I'm looking at a roughly 4x6 picture frame. Inside the picture frame is a piece of loose leaf paper, blue lined paper. And the idea is we have a washable marker. So if we need to write something down...
It's dry erase. It's a dry erase.
It's a homemade dry erase board that he had brought to the table last week. And so if we need to communicate off mic, we use this dry erase board. And I think there was one time that you used it last week, and then you said not to mention what was on it.
I drew you a picture, but it wasn't appropriate.
So
we skipped it.
So I hope everybody out there is feeling great. We're doing okay. I got my Mountain Dew here. We got a.
It's all traditional.
All traditional. We got some Burger King pre-pod. So we're feeling great. To start things off this week, we have a busy agenda, but we started off this way last week with Is That Your Goof? And for the first time listeners, Is That Your Goof is a Is That Your Goof is a segment where we talk about where we had messed up in previous episodes of the podcast. So this is something that we implemented last week, and I think going forward it's going to be a segment.
Can I start with one of mine?
Yeah. Because
it's actually not Is That Your Goof episode 2. It actually is episode 1 goof that I neglected to mention last week, and it's really unimportant, so we'll get that one out of the way first.
Okay.
I mentioned my first concert was Weird Al Yankovic. That's true. But I mentioned it was the Bad Tour. So that was not it. It was in fact the Fat Tour, where he was parodying the Bad Tour. No. Just the Fat Tour. Something completely different. Another side note, I don't listen to this anymore. This is years ago, my very first concert.
Was that part of Is That Your Goof is telling previous music, like it was a goof that you ever listened to him?
I'd say it's pretty much a goof that anyone listens to it, but there's a part in your life where you got to at least listen to at least a couple songs of that.
So what was the difference between the Bad Tour and the Fat Tour?
Well, the Bad Tour is when, I'm not sure. Michael Jackson wrote the song Bad. Right?
Okay.
And I think Weird Al Yankovic took the song Bad and made it about being fat instead of about being bad.
Okay, so there was nothing called the Bad Tour.
I don't think.
Nothing called the Bad Tour.
That's why it's a goof. And it was my goof.
It was a very severe goof.
But it was my first concert.
For the Weird Al fans listening, that was probably a very severe
You were upset,
goof.
Sure.
I actually wrote this goof down, but I think Jake was more frustrated with this goof than I was. The fact that still in episode 2, for our acronym
ITYK, Is That Your Kid?
ITYK, I had once again stated in the early moments of episode 2, ETYK Studios, which we know is not real. I just think, like, when I think E.T., I'm just like, yeah, that's what I should be thinking.
What, the alien?
About. Yes.
Like Phone Home?
Yes.
Well, just don't say it.
Yeah, I think E.T., your kid, like E.T.
This is what I brought to the table today. I have a clip of Todd botching it again in episode 2. Here it is.
In the Scavenger Hunt, we made a list of things that are going to be a part of this. So if we find any of these things, we bring it to the ETYK studio and say that we have found it.
Okay, and that's Todd messing up again. If we should keep a tally.
Well, that's at least 3. That's
three.
At least 3. So ITYK is the acronym for that. Also, I haven't mentioned before, a very talented band. Cloud Nothings, No Sentiment is the intro to the podcast. I know a few people had asked me, and I had not mentioned their name, which was a bad idea because we did not do that. We do not own the rights to that, so
But we will continue to use it.
but we will continue to use it. But that is off of Cloud Nothings, their song "No Sentiment." So you should look it up. Also, this is the one that kind of hit home to me. As athletes listening, so the one athlete that may listen to this podcast knows that you do not throw your football with your hand. You throw it with your body and your shoulder.
I knew you were going to get upset about that. No one even thought about that.
No, I did.
You did.
Because at the end of the episode, I said that...
I said you had strong hands or something?
Yeah, and I said, yeah, have you ever seen me throw a football before?
Yeah,
but
you
you throw it with your body and your arm. So this past week, if you heard that and was like, that's how I throw a football, and that's what you started learning, unlearn that. Unlearn that, because you throw with your shoulder.
You might have inspired someone to go throw. Like, whoa, all that you need are strong hands? I could do that.
Right.
And they might have learned the entire wrong way.
I'm sorry
Well,
for that.
It's nice that you apologize.
I have to apologize, because that's not how you throw football. That is not how you throw a football.
No.
So, starting off with, is that your goof? I think that's all the goofs we have. I didn't know that Jake had a recording of me goofing, which I think...
Well, we completely missed it until we listened to it again.
Which is the idea.
I had no idea.
Which is the idea. But if you notice any goofs in here, let us know. Is that your kid at yahoo.com, at is that your kid on Twitter, is that your kid.tumblr.com. You can tell us all about our goofs, all about anything you want, and we actually got some reviews this week.
Yeah,
we got some reviews. Now, if you are one of those who attempted to review the podcast on iTunes and it didn't show up, I do want to definitely say thank you for that, and I know of that, and I'm looking into that. So if you tried to review on iTunes, please keep trying. Please keep trying, because only half of the people that actually review, it will show up. So, some reviews we got. I think the most interesting review that we had this week comes from Valerie from Texas, and it goes as follows.
Oh, from Texas. Okay.
From Texas. We've got an audience in Texas. Okay. It goes as follows. After a long day out in the fields... Start out like it says. I'm reading it right now. After a long day out in the fields, entering my apartment, wiping the sweat off my Latina brow, a friend of mine suggested I listen to this insightful podcast. I rate this podcast 2 out of 2 ghosts and really enjoy the chemistry between the two gringos and their funny antics. And actually enjoyed listening / laughing throughout both episodes. I hate a lot of things, so me not hating this podcast speaks volumes. So that was from Valerie in Texas.
Incredible. That's good. She doesn't hate it.
She doesn't hate it.
And you might not hate it either, in fact.
Especially if you're Latina. And I have always had a soft spot in my heart for people.
That's much we know.
Yeah. And a different Dave, not the same Dave, but this would be Dave M. I've actually worked with this gentleman. Picked up chemistry with him pretty much from go. Jake has met Dave before, and he wrote in and he said, very genuine podcast, very likable personalities that mesh well together, pretty funny, all in all a good listen. And that comes from one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life.
Oh,
so,
thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. So, Jake, how was your St. Patrick's Day?
St. Patrick's Day was good. I hung out at I guess it would be a private Irish party. Not Irish. Very small percent of me is Irish. The band, my band, well, I'm in a band, The Seams, we play some Irish tunes for them. They dig it every year. This is the 3rd year they've had us back. It's not open to the public. It's just a party. Maybe 50, 60 people show up. Just a normal house. Awesome time.
Mm-hmm.
They drink heavily, dance around. What more could you ask for? If you're playing music.
Made thousands of dollars.
Oof.
He showed me all the money he made.
I was waving it in front of him.
He was like, sniff the money, and I was like, no. So you said you played there for a couple years, or?
This is my 2nd year with them.
Where's the house?
It's all the way in Aliquippa.
Okay.
And it's like just in Aliquippa. You're like in the city. You turn down a street, and then all of a sudden you're in the middle of nowhere in the woods. Mm-hmm. And then there's their very nice home.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there multiple bands at play, or
no? Just us.
Just that. So it's a Seams party.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it started. The Seams have been going there for 3 years. This is their 3rd year, and it's only my second year with the Seams going to this party. But it seems just like a tradition. They went 1 year, and we keep going back. It's probably the most fun we have playing shows at any point in the year. So we definitely look forward to that.
Now, a Seams set. I have seen Jake's band, the Seams, play a lot, I'd say. Mm-hmm. And an average Seams set is probably about a day long. I think it's fair to say it's a day long because very talented group of musicians, and they will play for generally an entire day if you want. There's really no stopping them. There's really no stopping a Seams set.
We're talking 3.5, 4 hours. Is that what you mean?
Longer, I've seen.
No, you haven't not seen that.
I've spent days at Seams shows.
Well, we thank you for that and your day-long support.
I have been to some Seams shows where I walk in and I leave and I like my hair's long and I need a beard. Right? I need a beard.
Your teeth are all fuzzy. You need a good scrub.
Get all the Seams fuzzies off my teeth, I guess.
Yeah, so those of you that don't know that, it's the Seams is interesting. We call it Steeltown folk. I'm not sure if that covers it either. We do it all: bluegrass, blues, Americana, rock and roll. You know, we just try to have as much fun with it as possible. So that's a little bit about us. That's our yearly St. Patrick's Day party. Not on St. Patrick's Day. It's on Monday. Going to see the Punch Brothers on Monday. I'll bump that. I love that band.
Okay, so if you want to meet Jake from Is That Your Kid podcast, he will be at the Punch Brothers on Monday.
And that is at Mr. Small's Theater.
And he'd be late for that. If he was playing a show today with the Seams...
Not Punch Brothers. I'm going to be early to Punch Brothers. Anyone else probably show up a little later.
Yeah. Well, if you were playing a show with the Seams, if your show started right now, there's a chance you'd be late for the show tomorrow. That's how long a Seams set is. Like, there's a chance that by tomorrow... Like, if he started playing with the Seams right now, he would not make the show tomorrow. That's how dedicated they are to music.
Well... We get hired places where they want us to play for hours on end.
Days on end.
Okay, days on end. It's true.
But my St. Patrick's Day, I actually, a little different from last year. Last year I had a panic attack so severe that I broke my phone.
You Hulk squeezed it.
If
I remember correctly.
Yeah, I Hulk squeezed my phone.
Still, he's holding it right now, looking at it. He's remembering that time where he had a panic attack and squeezed his phone.
And so it was a year after probably the biggest panic attack I've ever had. And so if you're friends with me on Facebook, you will see that I had a good time yesterday. And
did you?
Yeah. There's a lot of photos of me.
Did you
have a good time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, I did have a good time. Why did you think I had a good time? Did you?
Did you?
I had a good time, but I have a few pictures of me that it's just like the real close-up shots of me just like at a table, like kind of like half in the bag, and like the flash is right on me and it's dark behind it. It's gotten a lot of pop on Facebook.
Why?
I don't know, but it's a true thing. I don't really get many likes on anything on Facebook, but if you see these pictures of me poorly lit pictures of me.
Well, that's coming from a photographer. You know what it is, but
yeah,
I don't.
But I'm gonna pour myself more Mountain Dew.
This is the part where Todd pours more Mountain Dew in the episode, I guess.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's coming through. It's gonna be great.
Is that coming through on the good old mic?
Yeah, I think you got the whole experience. Cap on, cap off.
So
how was it?
Very refreshing.
I could tell by your at the end.
Yeah, very
That's how
refreshing.
Good it was.
Was that a knock?
I think it was my chair.
Okay.
It's not haunted, but I think that was my chair creaking.
Well, moving right along this week, some updates on the scavenger hunt, and there are a plenty. Now, if this is your first time listening, very quickly, what this scavenger hunt is we have 8 objects, and they're assigned points, and we have to find them. We can't already own them.
You can't buy them.
And you can't buy them, and they're all assigned points. And the first one to 50 points wins the scavenger hunt and plans our own episode. Last week, I took the lead with a deflated ball, 6-0. This week, we do have some updates, and I will let Jake go first because I fucking buried him this week. Go on, Jake.
That's what he thinks. Okay, let's do it. Here we go. A political sign poster that I'd mentioned that Todd wouldn't accept. Last week, he forced me to bring this here. I'm holding it now. Here it is.
Great sound.
Very signy. Very
Great
signy.
sound.
It is Bush versus Quayle in the 92 election. Not sure where it's from. Not sure if that's the Bush you're thinking of. Don't know. Is it the one I'm thinking of? Don't know. But I've got it right here. It's double-sided. It's, like I said last week,
Great.
red, white, and blue.
I just got a picture of it.
Red, white, and blue all the way. Very American. Oh, you know what? It's not Bush versus Quayle, is it?
No.
It's Bush and Quayle. What was I thinking?
Yeah, it's not versus.
They're obviously...
I was going to goof him. That's why I wanted a picture.
I caught it.
He caught the goof.
That's one last thing to talk about next week. Yeah, so they're campaigning together. Here it is. That's 5 points for me.
So the leaderboard,
Bling.
the leaderbird is now 6-5. Todd to Jake.
Crazy that I would have something from so long ago.
Yeah.
And you had a deflated sports ball, and yours is 1 more point.
1 more point. So so wherever you found that, you could return that now. I did not accept it last week because it has to touch the table. Which every week, as you notice, my objects touch the table. They're always here. So I have Jake added hubcaps to the list. 5 points for hubcaps. So we're going to talk about my hubcaps this week.
He's got a few.
I've got a few. I'm getting up, so if I sound further away from the mic, it's because I am. I'm going to straw paper in that one.
That one.
This one, the first one we're going to be looking at is a Ford off of a Ford I found in Homestead, Pennsylvania, on the way to work. And it's a chubbier one. Chunky.
That's a chubby's a good word.
Like,
you know what? It's not a store-bought one. It's actually a Ford-issued whatever car it came on. It's an actual Ford
so
hubcap.
someone probably really misses it. So let's
They're
get...
all good sounds.
And so this was picked up in Homestead. And so that would be 5 points.
That's 5, so 11-5.
11-5. The second one, this is the third one. The second one, actually, I was coming home from work by Permanis in North for Sales, and I had saw what was like it was like a piece of a hubcap on the road, and I was like, that's never gonna fly. That's never gonna fly for the pod. Jake is taking off his sweater right in the middle of this, so it's great that he's already tuned out. I had found a piece of a hubcap, and I was like, well, I'll bring it. I'll stop. I'll bring that to the pod, and it probably won't count. But as I was getting out for that piece, I saw what I have in my hand now, and I was like, perfect. And what would you say this is? Like, what? Just
fancy.
A fancy one?
I'd say maybe on a car that might be orange.
You think it from an orange car?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
a black hubcap.
And get some noise in there too.
Yep.
And so there we go. So 16-5.
It is.
Now this one I found on Lincoln Way, in front of the Wendy's on Lincoln Way, which I was no. You know what? That's always been a crutch. Talking about that Wendy's and me being the first customer there, and I will only mention that one time.
This is the one time?
That was it. This is a chewed up one that has been run over a lot.
You got some hubcap dust in your mouth. Oh, Oh,
That's
actually, that's an official one too. It's Toyota.
It's a Toyota Hubby.
But it's seen better days. And so much so that it wouldn't even fit.
No, it would
even
not
go
fit
back in.
back on. These ones could be used again. This guy is chewed up like an old dog bone.
I don't know. I'm gonna put my foot down on this one.
You don't think that this one goes?
And it's not just because I'm down those points. You would not be able to put that on a car. There's no wire. There's no way for it to fit in.
We're disqualifying this, but it's a hubcap.
If it was a hubcap, now it's just plastic.
So the argument is this is no longer a hubcap.
It is, but you couldn't use it.
I see.
I wouldn't bring like a...
All right. Well, I actually have a deflated kickball in the car. It didn't even make it to the ITYK studios this morning because it was disqualified. I will not put a picture on Tumblr of something that is disqualified. So you'll never see this, thanks to Jake. You will never see that sports ball, thanks to Jake.
Yeah.
So
you did the sports ball.
This is trash.
The hubcap is
This
trash.
is trash to me. You will never see this. It's a disappointment. So with two of those, so 2 hubcaps, 10 points, so 16-5 for the Scavenger Hunt update.
Now I'm coming right back at you.
Okay.
With a high until it's contested or beaten, the points remain mine.
Mm-hmm.
Now I could have started with a photograph that's 5 years old because you have yet to present one,
right.
and I would have those temporary points. However, you'll be hard pressed to beat this one.
Ooh, and oldest photograph, if you do remember, it is a 10-pointer.
Here it is. This is actually my grandmother's, who you heard on the pod earlier.
Mom?
Her mother.
Mom's mom.
No, Mom's mom.
Mom's mom.
Yeah, so it is Selma Weber Symington. Okay. 1898.
Oh no, 1898.
Here it is.
Selma coming up 10 points for Jake.
It's actually a postcard.
Read it if there's
But
words.
this is her. No, there's nothing. That's just it's got her name.
Make sure it touches the table with something.
Very nice. Now, okay, here we go. I'll say it.
Mm-hmm.
1898 was the year she was born.
Okay.
1982 was the year she passed.
Okay.
So she looks to be about maybe 20 in this photograph. So maybe conjecture, maybe 1918. It's up for debate, but it's somewhere in there, and it's definitely. You can take a look at that.
Well, I'll touch it to the table to make it official for you. And this is a great photograph.
Look at the style. I like her clothes.
Her style is very. We'll put this on the Tumblr so you can see it because it is official, and even the like the stamp on the back,
mm-hmm.
and now it says like correspondence here, name and address here. Great, Selma Weber, Symington.
Mm-hmm.
What year do you think this was written on here?
Probably 82. That's my grandmother's handwriting, so it's
1982.
Talk about penmanship. That's her handwriting.
Penmanship.
She's got nice. That's neat.
I mean,
she worked at a bank for a long time, so I guess she's got to.
Mm-hmm. So officially, then the Scavenger Hunt is 16-15, right?
10 points.
10 points plus the 5, 15. I got that. So on the road to 50 points wins the Scavenger Hunt, and Todd with 16. Jake with 15, and you will see.
Right behind you.
So I did not bury him as much, but I plan on it because I will make it my second job this week to find more things for next week. So as long as you're on your game.
Too bad. I've got a whole photo album here, folks. Too bad there can't be more than one old photograph.
The oldest photograph.
That was the contest. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. Worth a look. Worth a look.
So again, you could, after the episode, when you hear it, you could check out isthatyourkid.tumblr.com to check out those pictures, which will probably be then double posted to Is That Your Kid? And Jake just spit all over his mouth. Jake spit on his own mouth.
It'd be great if you didn't express that to everyone, but I did, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's still there. Gotta get it. Oh. All right.
So
moving on.
So talking about penmanship.
Yeah. My dad actually signed. He signed the paper that we both wrote on.
If you listen to last week's episode, you will know that We both wrote Jake's dad's name.
As per request.
As per request, his full name.
Always in green pen, if you want to know. My dad loves green pen. He'll write you a note. He'll write anyone a note. But just between you, me, and the lamppost, it's going to be green.
Great callback.
Thanks.
I like that.
There you go. So, yeah, there's that. I mean,
he wrote his name.
It's normal handwriting, and, it's good.
That's it. That's all you do with that.
I guess speaking of the dad segment of the show, he thought it was important for us to look at 2 pieces of art, which I think is great. Bring those over. Okay, my dad, I think he went on a little scavenger hunt of his own and found us 2 pieces of artwork.
Oh man, this week would be a great episode.
I'm gonna bang them both together. There's both this art together.
This would be a great episode to do a video podcast because we have so much visual stuff.
Oh,
so much visual stuff this week.
One that actually was hanging in my room as a child. And it is of the NASA spacecraft. It's taken off. It's got 2 radially mounted rockets on the side. I'm choking.
What is up with that?
My voice got real weird.
I'm gonna get a picture of this. Just keep going.
Hold on, let me spin. One NASA rocket, radially mounted rockets on either side. It's got the main thruster here in the middle. Very nice. This is a successful flight for NASA. I'm not sure where it went, but it didn't blow up this time. So this is that. USA. Take that, Russia. Sochi. There's the one. Used to hang in my room. You'll see that. The other one, more of a mystery, and I guess as Todd would say, in typical Zorme fashion, completely unexplained. No explanation. No explanation on this. Looks to be a seaside shack, a beach scene, or lake scene. I can't say. Nice mountains. Semi-globby brush strokes, but it's really working.
Semi-globby.
It's working for it. There's some green water. 2 what seems like busted up boats. and the shack that I mentioned earlier.
2 busted up boats, he says.
Do they look good, in good repair to you?
No, they look
definitely
busted up.
Busted. But they seem anchored, like ghost boats.
Yeah.
Whoa. But my favorite part is actually the sky, and I'll let Todd look at it. Very good. Okay, we'll set that aside. Very nice. So not part of the scavenger hunt. I guess my dad's running his own scavenger hunt.
And it's just called find anything and have your son talk about it.
Fun stuff, yeah.
But
I guess, and back to the NASA thing, when I guess we hung up these pictures, my dad and I had an agreement where I'd grow up, make millions of dollars, and then we'd be able to go to space together. So he wrote me a note. And at the top of the note, he said, "This is a penmanship sample." And he wrote the note talking about our agreement going to space. That's it. That's it. That's all.
If that wasn't the home run of the episode so far.
I have no idea.
A lot of visual stuff.
We'll get those posted out because you have to, honestly, we should have let them know at the beginning of the episode. You should be looking at the Tumblr while watching this. So you look at the Tumblr right now.
Look at, it's not live. So, but when
by
it goes
the time,
up.
Yeah, by the time it goes up, it'll already be there.
Have the Tumblr up. Lots of visual stuff this week. And no, we didn't pre-plan the visual stuff, really. It just kind of fell together like that. But great stuff. So I really hope your dad is happy with what easily the best part of the show, I think.
He will be.
In the 3-episode run, I feel like that moment, me standing there taking that picture, was my favorite moment so far of the show.
Good.
But to kind of move on, I have read the Stay Out of the Basement book 2.
Should we put that?
It's already on the Tumblr. I posted it this week.
Okay.
When I finish the book is when I post it.
That pause was for the Goosebumps
Okay,
theme.
well, let's pause right now for it.
And there it is.
And there it is. And that was, there you go. And so you saw us hyping it up on our social medias that I did finish this. And I finished Stay Out of the Basement by R.L. Stine, which is the second book of the original 62 run. Tim Jacobus, and every time I mention the artist that does the covers, Jake loves that because what did you say?
Who would know that? Who would know that, or even mention it?
Yeah, but he did a beautiful rendered, and what is a very
that is, you know what? That's a memorable one because it's the Green Handbook.
It's the Green Handbook, and that's a memorable. When you think "Stay Out of the Basement," right about you know the hand.
I think I said it last week. I was like, that's the one with the green hand on the cover.
That's the one with the green.
I'll give you that one, Jacobus.
Okay.
You take that with you.
And so in this, and if you guys remember, there was an episode of it. You sweating through that shirt?
I'm sweating.
He's sweating right through the tee.
It might be the Burger King.
And well, the Burger King's out though.
Anyway.
But
Dead House. No. Stay out of the basement.
Dead House. No.
Finish your goosebumps.
Stay out of the basement. Features a father who is acting so weird about. He got fired from a job, and his wife, which is the main two characters' mom, her sister is sick, so she has to leave. So leaves the dad and the kids in the house, and dad just gets progressively weirder. First, he's cutting his hand. Second, he's sleeping on dirt and worms.
Where is he doing that at?
In his own bed. He's putting dirt on his bed and sleeping on it.
Oh, he's turning into a green guy.
Yeah, he's wearing a baseball cap because under the baseball cap we got leaves growing.
Oh.
We're cutting our hands. Green stuff is coming out of our hands.
Would you say he's cutting or trimming his hands?
No, cutting. Trimming would be... I see where you went with that. No, he cut it by accident.
Ooh.
And a word that comes up, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I may be saying this word because I'm not a plant fella. I'm not a plant cat, you know, if you will. I'm not a plant cat. Like, tendrils? What is a tendril? Is that like a leaf? A branch?
It could be a growth. Maybe tendrils refer to... Yeah, okay, I'll take it.
That novel has the word tendril in it. More than anything. I've never said that word aloud. And by context clues, I was like, that's probably what that is. Because, like, tendrils. Oh, there's tendrils on the ground. Tendrils reaching
like vines towards... yeah.
Tendril. That word comes up.
Too many times.
Many times.
Come on, RL.
Far too many times. Like, say, like, vine. Or say, like tendrils. A tendril grabbed my ankle. A tendrils to the ceiling. Tendril. And there is at least 2 to 3 times that a tomato plant...
had tendrils?
Not only tendrils, but the tomato would fall off the branch onto the ground. Like, they're just like, yeah, tomato plant falling off the tendril. And, but a long story short, it for whatever reason, it felt like a lot quicker through than Welcome to Dead House. And I enjoyed it.
Didn't have any of those damn dogs in it.
Yeah, it didn't have any.
Ruining the story for you.
The dog ruined Welcome to Dead House.
Well, the tendrils ruined it for you this time.
Yeah.
Not as much, though.
Not as much because...
But I think you could give a little bit of more away. So what happened to the dad?
Well, yeah, I was still going to go on about it.
Okay.
Here's the thing what happened to the dad. Nothing happened to the dad. This is the twist ending, which I was really happy about. And I remember this ending. The dad, who was slowly turning into a plant, was actually... he was already a plant. He actually got cut in half and just green shit came out of his torso.
That's not healthy.
No, he was a plant the whole time, and their actual father was locked in the closet, the downstairs closet.
Oh,
so it was you
weren't staying away from the bad thing. You were already in it with the bad thing.
So the what you know is the father figure. It was actually a plant the whole time.
He was a fake guy.
And the real dad was in the closet, moaning and knocking for all the book, the entire book. Chapter 1, we heard him moaning. That was already dad. They could have saved their dad.
Just get a little more courage. Just go down into the basement. You should not have stayed out.
No. And what kind of... That was kind of the thing, because dad was locked in the basement since chapter 1. And the story of the book is like, it went on for months, this stuff. So I don't know how...
Unbelievable. He was eating tendrils down in the basement.
Dad was locked up eating the tendrils.
Tomato plants that had fallen over and they threw down into the basement.
But so that was Stay Out of Basement. And what also some other Goosebump news is Rob Letterman, who did I think he's the fella that did he was the director of Monsters vs. Aliens. He is directing a Goosebumps film starring Jack Black as R.L. Stine. And it'll be hitting theaters in 2016.
It's a movie about R.L. Stine.
It's Jack Black as R.L. Stine, Rob Letterman, who
I'm excited to hear your review of that.
Well, it's going to be 2 years, so this podcast not only has to make it till next week, but it has to make it 2 years. So, Jack Black as R.L. Stine. Could you imagine that?
I'm doing it right now. I don't know if I'm imagining it in the right way.
Yeah.
Well, either way, 2 years down the road, I'm not going to watch it, so I'll let you do that for me. Let me know.
Well, if we're still around, if we're not dead by that year, because there, always could be the possibility of a freak accident.
It could be. Well,
but that was Stay Out of the Basement #2.
Thank you.
And I will actually give more updates on this Goosebumps film.
Would you give it like a read? Would you suggest?
I would suggest it. I would suggest
like it's not a pass. This is not a Goosebump pass.
This is not a Goosebump pass. Put more ado in here. But
a little shaky again.
I will pass the. I'm trying to think of a good rating scale because we already have stuff for the weird towns. Which, by the way, Dave H. We did get your email about the town, and we'll probably look at the town next week. So appreciate it. So stand by for that part of it. And
sip.
So Stay Out of the Basement, far better than Welcome to Dead House. Up next.
Ooh, yeah.
I
think I'm up next.
Do you want to read it?
Do you have it? Did you bring it?
I didn't bring it, but I could give
drop
it to
me
you.
off.
Yeah.
Well, drop it off to me soon.
Monster Blood.
One of my favorites.
He loves Monster Blood.
So, you know how this review is going to go. But I'll be interested to see what my perception of Monster Blood #1 is and the reality of it once I read it again. I have no idea. Will my expectations be shattered? Will I be disappointed?
All that Monster Blood running
I
down
hope
the
stuff
staircase?
gets real big. Spoiler. I hope stuff gets real big.
Because that's what happens with Monster Blood.
That's what it is. We'll see next week, hopefully.
Yeah, well, maybe, yeah. I'll try to give it to you, even maybe today. I'll try to give it to you. And then go from there. But I do have it. And so, next up for the Goosebumps review would be Jake reading Monster Blood 3.
We'll see what Jacobus has got in store for the cover art.
Tim Jacobus?
Yep.
Did you say Jack Jacobus?
I said I messed up the name, so I said Jacobus.
Oh, I thought you
Jacobus.
I thought you said Jack Jacobus.
Yep.
This sounds like a used car salesman.
Well. Hey, so how was your week this week? Anything exciting?
My week...
Or depressing, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I got a text.
Anyway,
Yo, Orlando! Thanks for accepting my friend request. Orlando, from Orlando and Mike, who are reviewing our podcast.
That's right.
For the TCGS Podcast Reviews podcast.
Very excited about that.
Orlando accepted my friend request, which is, let's face it, long overdue. I met that cat months ago. You're not going to accept my friend request now?
Till right now. But your week.
Yeah, my week, filled with ear infections.
2, in fact. Am I correct?
Yeah, 2 ear infections.
All your ears, all of them, are infected.
All 2 of my ears are infected. They've been hurting quite a bit for the past month. I went to Med Express. They saw me for 30 seconds. And they were just like, yep, both of these. And here's what I was hoping. Here's what I was hoping getting in there. There'd be so much caked in wax and shit in my ears that they'd have to flush them out. And so
you were hoping?
I was hoping that was what I'm saying is
like a quick fix?
I was hoping that was the problem. I was hoping I was all stuffed up.
That's never the case.
I was hoping I was stuffed up there. And so this doctor, anytime this doctor was looking in my ears, I was just like, real dirty, right? Real dirty. And she said, no, real clean, real clean. I was like, still dirty though. Oh, real dirty. And she would never commit to saying my ears were dirty. She finally said, they're actually very clean. You just have ear infections. Because all I wanted...
But you were probing her. You were bribing... what am I saying? Prompting her to get you...
Yeah,
get to say
I want more
dirty.
done up there. I want them... I want them sucked out, washed out. I want everything in my ears. I want to be able to see it. I want to see what's in there.
Only you.
And
Why?
Because I wanted it. I thought that was the problem. I wanted it so bad. I've never
Quick
wanted
fix.
anything from a doctor as much as I wanted my ears clean.
Are you keeping your head elevated when you're sleeping?
No.
For those of you that don't know, if you've got ear infections, you gotta. If you use 2 pillows, use 3. If you use 1 pillow, use 2. If you sleep on the ground, lean up against a wall. If you've got an ear infection,
If you're homeless and listening to the
you
podcast,
gotta stay elevated. That's the thing. That is the equivalent of getting the gunk out.
I wanted to see it. I wanted to see the gunk.
You just.
And I just wanted, because I love that. I wanted to know that was the problem.
Well, speaking about expelling things from your body,
Yes.
on Friday, something very exciting happened to me, and I've been waiting to talk about it. I've actually not told you about it until this moment.
Mm-hmm.
I was teaching my kindergarten general music classroom. We're singing, we're dancing, we're actually singing St. Patrick's Day songs, having a nice time. A boy comes up to me. He's 6. We'll just say his name, Brody. Okay, we'll just
That's
give him
a good name.
This is a good name.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you have to learn something about Brody, he always looks like he has just run a marathon. So no matter what, if he's sitting, sleeping, he always looks like he just ran a marathon. So real rosy, sorta, not in a bad way, just like real flustered, like he just came out of
Real rosy.
gym. Rosy,
Super rosy.
red cheeks, his hair is
All gypped up.
so blonde, it's like yellow, right? And this is the kid that just can't stop breakdancing, just rolling around on the floor. So this is Brody,
Okay.
off the wall, hilarious kid. He comes up to me. He says, "Mr. Zerme, my tooth feels too big." I was, what? Brody, what do you mean? But what's the problem? He's like, my tooth feels too big. I was like, okay, Brody, show me. So he shows me his like bottom row of teeth, right? And one of his front teeth were actually pushed backwards, inwards towards his tongue.
Oh.
So his tooth was just ready to fall out. He had a loose tooth, but he had never had one out before, so it was actually bent back towards his tongue. So to him,
Oh, I'm gonna pass out.
Todd is turning white. It was just ready to fall out. So to him, it felt bigger because it was closer to his tongue. So he's like, my tooth is too big. When you're 6, anything can happen. So I was like, oh. So I downplayed it. I'm like, Brody, listen, your tooth is just ready to fall out. Okay. So you just, at some point you just wiggle it, and when you wiggle it enough, it'll just kind of pop right out. He goes, oh, okay. I turn around to start talking to my class. There's 16 other kids in here. I can't talk about teeth all day. I turn back around, and Brody's got 2 hands in his mouth, shaking his head, and pulled his tooth right out, right in front of me.
Oh, was there a nice little spurt of blood?
No, it was the tiniest thing. It was smaller than your fingernail, the tiniest tooth. But no sooner did I turn around, I feel him going good. Incredible. Like, this kid could fall off like a 2-story building and bounce right back. Huge pain tolerance. He just ripped it right out of his face, held it in his hand, looked up at me, looked back down on the tooth, and
Was there any I did it, or?
I was like, was that your first tooth? He was like, yeah. I'm like, well, that's cool. You're gonna make some money off that, He's like, really? Yeah. So his mom's actually a teacher, so he walked down the hall and showed off his tooth.
Yeah.
So that's Brody. He ripped the tooth right out of his head.
Great. I'm proud of him.
No hesitation on his part.
He'll remember that. He'll remember that day. He'll remember that day.
I'm not even sure if he remembers yesterday. He's just that cool.
Well, when you're 6, anything can happen. Right?
That's what I said. So that's the teeth. Tooth story.
I was gonna say
field report
that would be great if we had the tooth here and it touched the table.
How in the world? I just talked to his mom. Hey, remember that tooth your son lost? I want that. Can I have that tooth?
I need it to touch the table.
That's why. No, I can't ask that.
Is his mom on any social media?
No.
Because she could hit us up on our social media, which is isthatyourkid.podomatic.com, which seems to be our hub, because if you go on isthatyourkid.podomatic.com, you're already listening to this, so I wasted hype probably.
Maybe.
But if you go on there, our link to our Tumblr is there. Our link to our iTunes account is there, and also you could comment and
subscribe actually through
subscribe.
Podomatic.
You could subscribe to iTunes through Podomatic because subscriptions would be cool just because it hypes us up to iTunes and you get it. And if you possibly put a review through, it may come to fruition that you see that review. It also may not.
About half the time you could write a review and it will work.
About half the time you could write a review on iTunes and you know what? It'll pop right up there. But also, if you use and I need your reference because I don't know. But I was looking into not social media, but apps for your phone, mobile apps, Stitcher, Miro, Double Twist. If you use any three of those, let us know if you could listen to Is That Your Kid on any one of those because we did apply. We did register Is That Your Kid with Stitcher, Miro, and Double Twist. So if you use any of those mobile applications, let us know if you could find Is That Your Kid, and that's going because I hope that it would just reach out to a few more people out there. So if you use any of those, let us know if it works and we did it right, because if we didn't do it right, we probably didn't. So that's why I need to let you know to let us know that that could be a thing. But I'm getting a message.
No, I'm just drawing something.
Jake is drawing something.
That's all.
Over there, and I'm not too sure what it is.
I don't know what it is yet.
You don't know what it is? I can tell what it is so far.
Yeah? It might be.
Is it you?
No, I don't think.
Okay, so he's drawing.
It's gotta be you, I think.
Okay, so it's going to be me? But also I wanted to let you know that I actually been in talks with a couple different musicians over the past week. We are looking for you to send in a 2-minute or so song to the podcast, and then we'll put it up in the mix. And so if you wanted to debut a song on Is That Your Kid, we welcome that, because we do want I do have a lot of talented musician friends out there, Jake being one of them with the Seams. I know a mutual friend of ours, Mike, he's Atlas, the Velcro Shoes. Those guys at some point, I want all of them on the podcast at some point. So if you have a 2-minute song that you want to debut, or even if it's a little longer than 2 minutes, that's more than cool with me. And so just send it to, hit me up on Facebook, or also send it to isthatyourkid@yahoo.com. So what picture do you have over there?
Oh, it's actually, I was just scribbling you with a double ear infection with gunk coming out of your ears.
Oh my. I look like an elf.
Well, I had to make the ears a little bigger than normal. Otherwise, you'd be like, why? You got like headphones in?
Mm-hmm.
So I had the goop. That's that.
And that's great.
I felt like we didn't use it, so I didn't want to just unuse it.
Well,
there's that.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to do news?
Yeah. We actually have some very important news too.
As you know, there's a plane missing.
There's a plane missing.
What?
Malaysian Airlines flight 730.
It was about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago.
Yeah, it disappeared, and now it's leaning towards the fact that it was hijacked.
Is that a fact?
And no, this is all what we believe is real.
Allegedly.
We believe is real. And I know that what happened to it, they're still not sure, and the search is growing. And the pilots are facing, they're being scrutinized right now. So it's the official statement we will release from Is That Your Kid podcast on what we think happened. What do we think happened, Jake?
I've got nothing. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Neither do I. And that was the news.
That's the news.
But if you also want to write us in some news topics, I think that's very appropriate. Because as you know, just as we went over, we do have a lot of important issues to tackle, such as where that plane is. We don't know. The end.
Yeah.
But something you may send in, we may know where it is.
We have opinions about a lot of
A lot of things.
A lot of things.
A lot of things. And you will find out that we may not know anything. But doesn't matter. That's our opinion.
That shouldn't stop you from sending in news to us. So do that.
Send in news. So how many minutes were we running over there?
That's 50 minutes, just as you said that.
50 minutes, just as I said that.
50 whole minutes.
Great. But, so you have anything else for this week? Do that closer to the microphone.
I got nothing.
Nothing?
Again, that's twice in a row.
Get yours going and mine going.
Okay.
All right. Well, that wraps up this week's episode of Is That Your Kid, episode 3. Again, hit us up on Tumblr, isthatyourkid.tumblr.com, at isthatyourkid on Twitter, isthatyourkid@yahoo.com. Subscribe on iTunes. We definitely want to hear your nice comments. We've had a lot so far. We're very happy to bring them up on the show if they do get posted. So let us know what we could do for you, and we'll catch you next week. Jake, I will let you send this out.
I still have nothing to say. Thanks for listening, everyone. That's it.
That's it.
What seems like busted up boats.